I feel like a hot pot of water that just keeps heating up, bubbling, boiling, steaming, and now soon about to whistle like a tea kettle that sounds like a train. Though I feel like if I could just get this off my chest, release me of this energy, then I can move on with my life. And I really try not to be a complainer or show my anger, but this was very disappointing. So let me take you back to 2020.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus. First U.S. case has been detected.
Everybody's got to stay inside. The last thing we need is people being exposed to the sun, breathing fresh air. They need protection.
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line.
Now, reports say that 81% of Americans got at least one of these guys, and therefore I don't know how relatable this video is going to be, as I was one of the 19% who didn't.
You are not pushing it. You are not saying it's the right choice. You're saying you're not doing it and your family's not doing it, and you're leaving out of the equation that you can make other people sick, as if that doesn't matter.
I promote you to do that, but if there are Americans like myself who choose not to, please don't berate me for doing that. It is a personal choice I have made. It's my own healthcare. I am allowed to do that.
Here's
I'm
the thing,
entitled to do
Byron, because if your answer is just then, well, I don't care what they say, this is me, I'm an American. That is being dumb as a proxy for being bold. And I don't think it's a good message, because remember, it's not just you protecting yourself.
Let me say this.
It's you protecting me and other people from you.
This bickering is pointless.
During 2020, 2021, I was considered the villain, dumb, disrespectful.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this.
Even this impacted my relationships with my family and my friends. One of my closest family members was like, I don't think you should come to my wedding if you're not going to get it, because therefore you're going to make everybody sick. I had lots of friends who stopped talking to me. Actually, 4 of my best friends who were like, yeah, if you're not getting click, then because of people like you, the rest of us are going to have to wear a mask for the rest of our lives, and we're never going to be able to travel ever again, and grandmas are going to be dying because you're not getting the click. And the one that bothered me the most was when my best friend told me that I am making the world a more sick place. And I was like, okay, wait, I had just started my YouTube channel at that time. I was like, I'm trying to teach people about sunshine and walking outside and eating healthier. And she was like, yeah, that's not going to make any difference. It was like a punch to the gut, because obviously I spent a lot of time and effort and love into the creating content. But then on top of that, to be told like, no, you're the problem. I'm the issue. And I was all for people doing whatever they thought was best for them. I was never like, you shouldn't get the injection. I was never like, you should do what I'm doing. I never said that. I wanted people to do whatever they thought was best for their situation. And I felt it was so uncalled for that I couldn't also do the same thing for myself. And I was told that I was disrespectful. Meanwhile, people weren't respecting my own decision.
Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are. The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start shaming them. What else? Or leave them behind.
And I blame the media. I am so angry with the media for making it seem like people like me need to be silenced, censored, ridiculed, judged, peer pressured, the whole 9 yards. And therefore it caused this division amongst family. It caused this divide amongst our countries.
Some in the mainstream media are reporting with this us versus them approach.
I try to be like Jesus and forgive, though it would be helpful if there was an apology or just some recognition that, hey, you said some nasty things to me and you really put me down and you really, made me cry and made me feel very terrible about myself. And now it's crickets. Nobody's saying anything. I'm making this video because I actually was just talking to a friend the other day who was like, did you have a falling out with your best friend? And I was like, yes. She stopped talking to me after I said I wasn't getting the click. And then my friend was like, oh my gosh, wow. And now look where we are years later. You are the one who was right. She was like, I ended up getting the injection. And even for me now, I've seen all the studies, all the things coming out, and I wish I wouldn't have got the injection. So I was like, oh snap. I always wonder if my friends, the ones who like disowned me, who were so rude to me, if they now see what I'm seeing online, or if, no, the media is still doing a great job of hiding and covering things up. And I was so surprised when my friend just told me that she wishes she didn't get it, because usually people don't like to admit when they were wrong or when they were blindsided. Usually people like to double down. They become more ingrained in like their decisions. And for me, I really do try to admit my mistakes and try to correct and learn and change my mind. And I post about it here on YouTube, which sometimes when I'm making videos where I'm talking about how I, change my mind, I think people are going to lose trust in me because they're going to go, this girl is wishy-washy. They're not going to feel as confident that I'm not going to change what I do later. But at the same time, I feel like I have to just stay open, and we all learn, we all grow, and we all make mistakes. And so I don't try to be perfect over here. And it was really refreshing to hear my friend say that she wishes she wouldn't have got that. And she said that she felt like the media really pressured her. The media really sold her on thinking that grandmas were going to be dying all over the place if she didn't get it. And so now hindsight, she's like, wow, look at all the studies, all the data, all the things coming out about click injuries, about rising rates of cancers and of heart attacks in young people.
Women's heart attacks rising, particularly among those 30 to 50 years old. The same goes for turbo cancers. In fact, if we look at this graph here, we can see cancer rates have risen exponentially since 2021. Of course, the cause is a complete mystery.
There's a lot of different things happening. Like, even I had a family member who had this crazy skin thing going on, and his doctor's like, I've never seen this before. And I feel like there's just a lot of things going on nowadays that the media is not talking about. And I'm not saying that these rising rates of certain conditions are happening as a result of this, but I'm just saying it's something that I have noticed, and I feel like it's obviously not being talked about in the media. Yes, I am bummed out and disappointed in those old friends of mine who were so rude to me, but I really am angry with the legacy media, because I know that it's the media who spun the minds of people, my friends, my family, people all over the world. And it's so blatantly apparent and so obvious to me that the media is bought and paid for. They cherry pick data, they spin stories, and they have a huge influence over the way that all of us think and see the world. And it totally stinks, because you're like, I want to know what's going on in the world. I want to be an informed citizen. But at the same time, how do you know then who to trust and what to listen to when it's like, there's some vested interests in the media? I mean, when the US is one of 2 countries that allows for drug companies to push prescriptions via TV commercials, that really tells you who's calling the shots here. Pun intended. Okay, shots? Cool. I know that back then there was like a lot of uncertainty, and it was just a first time experience for a lot of us to have gone through like a pandemic. And so because of that, then people didn't know, like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and trust what they're saying because I don't know, this seems crazy. But at the same time, for me, how I was able to kind of navigate through the waters and how I still do this going forth nowadays when watching media is I just like to take things back to more common sense as far as, yes, this was a virus that we hadn't seen before, but ultimately for me, I was like, okay, I feel like our human body, our human system is so capable of healing and overcoming a lot of different things. And that's something that we don't hear about in the media, is that yes, this body can do miraculous things when it's given the right tools, as in I believe sunshine and movement and nature, and ultimately food is a huge part of it. And many people don't hear that message. They're told, oh, you've got Crohn's disease, that's it. Or you've got high blood pressure, well, it's genetic and you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life. Or you've got arthritis, or you have PCOS. There are so many diagnoses given out there where people then think that it's inevitable, they're doomed to have this for the rest of their life, when a lot of these things can be reversed via changes in lifestyle and diet. I've even seen people heal their cancer. It's crazy. Whether you believe in God or Mother Nature, or however you believe humans became on this planet, I don't think that God made us inevitably doomed for fate and like not having all of the things that we need to thrive and feel our best and have our bodies be able to recover and heal. No one told me this. I just noticed that when I was a kid, if I took medications when I was sick, it made me feel like I was sick longer, and it kind of like drew out how long I was sick for. And so pretty young, I just told my mom, I was like, yeah, I'm not taking any medications when I get sick. No more nasal spray, no more spray in the back of the throat, no more Advil or any kind of medications, because I just felt like it was not helping and just prolonged the sickness. So I since haven't taken any. And then I met my husband, he is somebody who has never in his life gotten anything, even as a baby, even to get into schools. His dad was a doctor and signed off all the papers. So when he went to school, he didn't have to have any of these things. And my husband's never even taken medication. He has never had an Advil or a Tylenol in his life. And I'm telling you, this guy, he's got like a bulletproof body where you could be sick around him, coughing and sneezing and rubbing your cooties on him, and he just doesn't get sick. It's incredible. Many people don't hear the story that when we take different things and medications, these antibiotics can kill our gut bacteria and change our gut. And so much of our health is derived from our gut. Now, back in 2020, there were a lot of people who already had metabolic syndrome. They already had insulin resistance, obesity, hypertension. That then, yes, if I was one of them in their position, I would have been nervous about getting sick. I may have considered getting the click, but I also, if I was in that position, would have considered, how can I reverse my type 2 diabetes? How can I lose weight? How can I start reclaiming more of my health so that way I don't get nervous that I'm gonna get sick? I'm a believer that humans weren't put on this planet to need medications and this and lots of surgeries. And yet nowadays, it's very common for people to have their appendix removed, their gallbladder removed, their tonsils removed. And it's like, whoa, the doctors are like, oh, that part's not that important. It's like, then why did God design us to have them? I don't believe he created us inherently flawed. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't need surgery. Of course, if someone were to get in an accident and they break their leg, then at a period of time in their life, they're going to need crutches and eventually be able to walk again. And similarly, I think that way with medications. Some people may need medications or may need medications for a period of time, similar to needing crutches, but eventually be able to walk again and therefore not need the meds. But I don't know too many doctors who are like, hey, let me help try to get you off those drugs. In fact, now you need some more drugs to counteract the other drugs and the side effects of this medication, so here you're going to also need this. And it makes me kind of sad because, I just see so many people who they are not thriving and living their best life just because they're exposed to different information. So this has been my life over here for the past few years where I'm just like, what the flippity flop is going on with the media? Not just from a 2020 standpoint, but from a politics standpoint, from all the things that are filtered, all of the things that are like on the hush hush, and it's just crazy. So what are we going to do about it? Well, firstly, I think when it comes to our health, I would just say nobody is in charge of my health other than me. And I have the belief that I can heal and I can be healthy. I think, of course, if we believe, nope, I'm doomed, this is my fate, then it's going to be much harder to see miraculous changes. But in general, I think healing can be more simple than people might think. Eating whole foods. So I think if we're talking hot Cheetos and pizza and burritos and ice cream, probably not in our best interest. But when it comes to eating real foods, whole foods, meaning things that just have one ingredient, meat, fish, eggs, dairy, fruits, nuts, and veggies, then we can kind of mix and match. And maybe some people heal in a different way with certain whole foods and other people thrive in other ways. But regardless, start with the basis being whole foods. And that's where it gets really tricky just right there because our society is not set up for that. Our coworkers are eating the other chips and the cookies and the brownies that they brought in. And then our family's going to have a pizza night. And then our friends are going to invite us out to get beer. And so it gets really complicated nowadays because of our society nowadays. I'm telling you, 50 years ago, even this was not as crazy as it is nowadays. 100 years ago, people would never recognize our cereal aisles. It's insane. So I'd start with whole foods and then listening to positive things that lift you up rather than the negative things that are fear, fear, fear. Some people may not be able to do lots of activity right now, but do as much movement as you can. Sleep, 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 sleep. So underrated. We need to get the sleep. That's where our bodies rest, recover, and repair. Sunshine, glorious, so good for our immune system. Just like how a flower thrives off of sunshine, so does this lily, but so do all of us humans and living things thrive with sunshine, with sleep, with water and hydration, with movement, with great real food. While I think that food can make the biggest impact on our health, I also think that food is the hardest part to change. And so I would start with whatever seems the most fun and easy. If you're like sleep seems the easiest, start there. If sunshine seems like it's a good move, start there. But most people, they think they have to make all of these changes and start everything today. And so they end up just kicking it down the road and not starting when, yes, today, what are we going to start today? What's the easiest? What sounds the most fun? And let's start loving our bodies. Let's start honoring this temple, this sacred home that we get to live in temporarily called our body. A simple and what I would consider fun thing to start with healing our bodies is through an infrared sauna blanket. Now, today's video is sponsored by Bond Charge, and I absolutely love this product because it is so relaxing and enjoyable. Essentially, it is this sauna blanket where the red light penetrates deep into our skin and can help with fine lines, wrinkles, acne, sunspots, blemishes, but then also because of the heat, it helps us sweat out the toxins. It can help stimulate blood flow and therefore help our bodies relax. It can help with joint pain, muscle stiffness. It can help with heart health. And so there's so many benefits to just laying down in a sauna blanket. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. And it feels so good. It feels good to sweat and just relax, really. For me, I find this sauna blanket helps me with my sleep. It helps me just calm down, relax, and just get feeling like jello and sleep like a baby. If you'd like to check out Bond Charge's sauna blanket, there's a link in the video description where you can get 15% off. Or if you'd like to check out any of Bond Charge's products, use discount code Lillie at checkout for that 15% off. My goal is to ultimately help serve people and help people feel their best because I've seen so much sickness, suffering, so much misinformation, depression, and just hopelessness. And I hope to be an inspiration to help you guys know that it is possible for healing and for health and for joy and for vibrancy and to wake up feeling like $1,000,000. So join me on this journey, subscribe to the channel, sign up for my newsletter. It's free. And I promise in return, I'm going to continue sharing knowledge, positivity, and hope for a better future. If you ever have critiques on how I can make these videos better, or if you have any recommendations on different video topics or suggestions of things you'd like me to talk about, then please let me know in the comment section because I really do want to just serve in whatever way is going to be most beneficial and helpful for people. And I also am giving a 7-day free trial to my coach, Lillie AI, where essentially this is a service that is the clone of me put inside of technology, where you can have 24/7 unlimited texting with my coach, Lillie AI, who will give the same guidance, support, and feedback that I would give if we were working together one-on-one, except it's a lot less money. And like I said, you do get to do a 7-day free trial. This coach Lillie AI service also does a body scan. Using your cell phone's camera, you can see your lean mass, metabolic rate, body fat percentage, and so much more, and track these trends over time. This body scan is as accurate as a $200 DEXA scan. And like I said, just do it for free, okay? Of course, I think people will see more results the more they use it, the more time they give it, because of course, no one gets healthy in 7 days, but regardless, I want you to still try it and see if it's a good fit for you. There's more information to that in the video description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.